Point 94.1 Mornings with Sharpe and Mike. That was Rolling Stones. I know it's only rock and roll, but I kind of like it, George. I do. I like it a lot.
Well, I do too. That's the music of my generation.
And you know, the interesting thing about George being here is that you're doing so many things. We're listing off all the things that we could talk to you about. But let's talk about the symphony first. You're in town for the symphony this weekend.
Yes, the Arkansas Symphony Orchestra. Our first performance is Saturday night at 8 o'clock at the Richardson Center. Robinson.
Yes.
Robinson Center Music Hall. Did I get it right?
Yes, you did.
And then on Sunday, a matinee at 3 o'clock.
And they're doing Beethoven and they're doing Schoenberg. And you're the narrator for for the Schoenberg.
For the Schoenberg piece.
Yeah.
A Survivor from Warsaw, which is a chunk of bloody red meat.
Now, is that something that, with the narrator part, do you have to remember all that, or do you have a script? Or
I do have it up here.
Wow.
And it's one of the more challenging concert narration. Not narration. I become that survivor. So, you know, it's just
powerful
anguish and torture and pain and fear that I have to do with the music. So it's a wonderfully challenging piece.
And you're like perfect for it. I mean, I'll go ahead and say
the voice.
You're the best voice on the show right now.
No.
Sorry.
I hear a lot of good voices here, particularly yours. Drew.
Oh, you're too kind. Thank you.
Give him an oh my.
Oh my.
Fantastic.
Very nice.
I don't know how that became, well, I do know how that became my signature. You know, it's a common phrase that we all use, right? Mm-hmm. You use it on the Howard Stern show.
There you go.
He plays it over and over and over again. And before I know it, you know, I do a Star Trek convention, and they line up for the autographs, and they say, write it to Jerry. Oh, my.
Yeah, I'm going to need you to redo all these autographs you did up here. If that's okay. But you have a catchphrase. I mean, like Donald Trump's is, you're fired. I mean, I wouldn't have oh, my, then I guess you're fired.
Yeah, absolutely. But I did hear that.
Did you? Oh, did we ruin something?
No. Yeah, you just said it. I heard it.
Yes. All right. Now, you're going to be with the Arkansas Symphony. Now, is this something you said you haven't memorized? Is this something you're doing? Is it just an Arkansas thing you're doing, or is this something
It's not an Arkansas thing. It's a Warsaw thing. Okay. And, you know, I was in a barbed wire prison camp here in Arkansas. There were two of them.
Right.
One called Jerome and one called Rower. Our family was incarcerated in Roar in Deshay County. And I had just turned 5 years old. So, you know, my parents' perspective on that experience and mine are quite different. It was the same experience, but the vantage point was that of a child.
Right.
And I have my real memories, and they are fun memories of an innocent child. But now as an adult, knowing what that was like, for my parents particularly. You know, my father used to say, they took my business, they took our freedom, they took our home. The one thing I'm not going to give them is my dignity. And I'm really proud of the way my parents endured all that with such fortitude and grace.
Right. And then you're born and raised in Los Angeles, California.
Right.
And
my mother was born in Sacramento.
Yeah. I mean, so it was just a weird time.
Well, it was a shameful time for America because, you know, we're Americans and we had committed no crime. It was one of the most unconstitutional things because, you know, in this country, when they arrest you, you have a right to know what the charges are. There were no charges. You also have a right to challenge those charges in a trial. There was no trial.
No due process.
No due process. They rounded us up and put us in these prison camps simply because we happened to look like the people that bombed Pearl Harbor.
Wow.
It was a very un-American thing to do.
Very unconstitutional.
Egregious violation of the Constitution.
Right. Well, we are in studio with George Takei. He's going to hang out here for a little bit, and we're going to lighten things up a little bit.
Yes.
That's what we're going to do.
We did get a little bit too sober.
No, and I appreciate you sharing that with us. But you know, we want to also have a lot of fun while you're here as well.
Yeah, because I'm an Arkansan from that.
Yeah, we're gonna go play some washers here in a little bit, and you know, and drink some cold beer here and have a really good time. George Takei's in studio.
Where's the beer? I only have water
beer.
here.
It's that fridge right over there on the floor.
Point 94.1. All right, George Takei in studio. George, again, thank you so much for taking the time to join. You're a very busy man, and for you to spend any kind of time at a local radio station it means a lot, considering your fame.
Well, I'm glad you appreciate that, because I could have been in bed still this morning. I got up for you, Sharpe.
Oh my! Oh man! So do you look back? You look back at your memories of Star Trek. Do you look back at them with fond memories, or is it like that? Is it like Led Zeppelin would be when they say, "Oh, Stairway to Heaven"? I'm so sick of playing that song. I'm so sick of hearing about it. It's all people want to ever talk about. But you think about it. You look back at the '60s. 46 years ago, Star Trek started, and you are a television icon. I would like to go there.
Well, I really am blessed. I'm proud.
I thought I was going to say, I really am an icon.
Well, that's
we'd
true
agree,
too.
and we would agree.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm glad you said it, not me. I do agree with you. You're a very wise man.
Thank you. Fooled you.
No. It takes great wisdom, a great experience, and knowledge to observe what you just did.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously.
Your greatness, I know.
It's very clear. I'm walking down the street, and people say, "Oh, hi, Sulu."
Right.
Not
Now,
George Takei, Sulu.
Do more people address you as George, or more people address you as Sulu when you meet
It's
people
a little
on the street?
mixture of both. And, or some people call me Star Trek.
Hey, Star Trek.
But I'm proud of my association with it.
Yeah.
Because, what other show has lasted this long in the public psyche, become, believe it or not, 12 movies. They're filming the 12th one right now.
Wow.
And it's going to be coming out next year. And, in, what is it? This is 2012.
Mm-hmm.
So in 4 more years, we're going to be celebrating our centennial. And to have been part of that, and to have been a part of a show that had such important message, to the people, as well as great entertainment. Rip Snorting good space opera. Very few people get that opportunity. And I wouldn't be here talking with you guys if it hadn't been for Star Trek. So I feel very blessed by that.
And you never lost any of your star power from it. I mean, it seems like it never went away. There was never that early days and then it went away. It seems like you were always there. You're always going to conventions, always having a fan base.
Well, that's what happens when you're an icon.
Well, I wouldn't know anything about that, George.
Now, does it surprise you that, here 46 years later that Star Trek has become what it has become? I mean, did you think 40-some years ago that, oh, yeah, in 46 years from now, it's still going to be huge?
Well, I'll tell you, 47 years ago, when we were shooting the pilot film, I said, I smell quality here. And I bet you, Jimmy Doohan, I'm going to be in Little Rock, Arkansas in the year 2012 talking about you and this with Sharpe and Mike. I am a visionary.
Who weren't
I'm
even
an icon
born
and a
yet.
visionary.
Icon, a visionary, he's a prophet, yes.
Oh, my gosh. Now, when you were on Star Trek, of course, you were famous. Did you ever get the opportunity to hang out with any famous classic rockers of that time period?
No, I didn't. I got to hang out with some classic sci-fi writers.
Oh, yeah.
Like Harlan Ellison, who was at our wedding, and Norm Spinrad. Ray Bradbury was someone I had read and I had idolized, but he never came on the set. I met him much afterwards when I was doing a radio show like this, and he happened to be one of the guests as well. But, to be able to hang out with these people that have incredible imaginations, and like Harlan is a social critic, and he gets frenzied. I mean, he really goes over the top. Have you ever met him or talked to him or heard him on radio? He's amazing, but, he is so frenzied when he's angry, and he is often angry, fascinating guy. So I hung out with some classic sci-fi literary people.
Right on. We're in studio with George Takei, Sulu from Star Trek, and a whole lot more. We're going to get back to him and talk to him a whole lot more when we come back on the Point 94.1.
I grew up in 2 barbed wire internment camps. I survived it, and I overcame. And then from an internment camp, I went into an even more challenging situation. Show business.
Yeah.
My thick is hide. My hide is thick.
Thick is hide.
That's my hide is thick.
Yes.
Quote right
It's
there.
early in the morning.
Oh, man.
My
Oh, by the way, we need to congratulate Samuel Gregory, who knew the answer to the trivia question, and he got 2 tickets to the symphony on Sunday afternoon.
Congratulations, Samuel.
And I'll let you do the pronunciation of Sulu's first name.
Hikaru.
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 Okay.
And Gene Roddenberry, he doesn't pluck things out of the air. He was reading a classic Japanese novel from the 14th century, one of the great Japanese classics, written by a noble lady about 2 warring clans that had been warring for decades. And then this young prince is born, who is a great poet. He's a great artist, a great archer, and a military strategist. And he finds a way to bring the clans together and brings peace. And so, and then Gene found out that the word Hikaru means shining one. And so that's how he came to give Sulu that first name.
Wow.
Didn't know that.
Oh, he's such a
He really thought out every little piece
detail
of that show. Yeah.
Like the Starship Enterprise was a metaphor for Starship Earth, but and so he wanted the crew to reflect that. But for the Asian character, he couldn't think of a last name that wasn't nationally specific. Because every Asian country has linguistically specific, like Tanaka is Japanese, Wong is Chinese, Kim is Korean.
Okay.
And 20th century Asia has a history of warfare and turmoil. And he didn't want to suggest that. He wanted to find something that was pan-Asian, And he was staring at the map of Asia, and he saw that off the coast of the Philippines was a sea called the Sulu Sea. And he thought, the waters of a sea touch all shores.
Wow.
And that's how he came up with the last name Sulu.
Wow.
He's an amazing man. He was an amazing man, and I had real respect, and I felt grateful that I had a man like that as a friend.
George Takei, you are quite the storyteller, and I know this weekend is going to be an amazing weekend. You're quite the narrator. The way you just told a story right there just had me just enthralled about
me too.
wanting to hear the story of Sulu, and it was great. Not everybody gets to hear that. I mean, I'm going to post that on YouTube. Make sure we share this with the world. But George Takei,
Do that.
welcome back to Arkansas, and we hope you come back many, many times. And every time you come back, we hope you make a stop at the Point 94.1.
I sure will. I love the city of Little Rock. It's such a vibrant place.
Can you give us a woo pig suey?
Woo pig suey.
Razorbacks. George Takei, thank you very much. The Point 94.1.
Live long and prosper.